All right, what's up, everybody? It's Famous Amos. This is Creatives in Quarantine, episode 1. We got Ruggo here. He just came out with a new album
Good.
called Gifted. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
And this is the first episode. We're just highlighting some creatives who want to talk about their processes in quarantine, the things that they're going through, their thoughts. And since he came out with a brand new album called Gifted, out now, go get it. I wanted to get him on this thing. So look, first question. When I saw the name Gifted, right, in my mind, it didn't have like a prideful feel to it. It had like this overachieving, like striving for something like greater type of
Yeah.
image in that. And that's something I admire. The track list is crazy, and I just like to know your thought process on,
My God.
what goes behind how you pick a single and what made Camisado the first single. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, the whole for Camisado being the single, hold on a second. Just gotta make sure this is good. Okay, so for Camisado being the single, I thought that was one of them ones where it's like you hear it and you're like, this sounds like one of those, because like you said, Gifted didn't sound too prideful, right? Like the title behind Gifted stands for something more than rather like you just being all flashy and boom, this is me, this is how good I am type stuff. So Camisado was supposed to be kind of like a misdirection kind of thing to throw you off and be like, yeah, it's the first track, right? And I put it strategically there because I think the sound of it has kind of the radio sound as far as like maybe drums go.
Mm.
And if you listen to the lyrics, it's more just like a plan of how I'm gonna like get myself into the game rather than saying, oh, I'm already in the game, I'm already this, I'm already that, like too big behind me, rather because if you know what a camisado is, that's it's a term used for like an army attack at night, right? And the running theme behind that song is dark out. So if anything, it's just more like this is how strategic I'm actually going about it, and the fact that I could throw you off with this one song and then come back with a whole album to tie it together. I think that was the reason why I chose that as a single. So
Dang.
I don't know. There was kind of a lot behind it, and I was like, "Damn, that would be dope as hell if I did that." I didn't really think too hard about it when I was writing it and doing all that, but then I was like, "You know what? Might as well just do that."
It fell together. Fell
Yeah,
together
it
just
all
like in
fell
the whole
together. Yeah,
process. Yeah.
for
That's
sure.
awesome, bro.
Thank you.
On Gifted, you included that one voicemail that you got from that program, audio engineering program. Did you go to that? Like, what was that whole thing like?
No, with that, nah. Basically, what happened was in okay, so at my school, see, because I'm still in high school. In my school, right, it's a graduation requirement to apply to some colleges. Like, if you don't, then
Mm,
can't graduate. Which I don't know if that's for other schools, but for mine it is.
yeah.
And Musicians Institute is technically a school. I mean, because I'm not too keen on like going to college. I never really was. I mean, now
Mm,
I don't know. I might not. But the whole fact that I needed to apply for something, right? And I was looking into it. I'm like, well, technically, Musicians Institute is school after high school, and all you had to do was like apply to something like that, maybe the army, like anything, like something like that, so that your
yeah.
school would know, okay, this person's on the right
Yeah.
path.
So you get
And I
going
was
somewhere.
like, yeah, to get me going. And then I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna apply to Musicians Institute. And I didn't think nothing of it, bro. I just applied to it, and then they just kept hounding me and bugging me with emails and this and that voicemail. That was the last thing I got from them, and I was like, well, I mean, because I don't have the money for it.
Mm,
It's not one of those things where you get accepted. It was one of those things where it's like you reach out and you see how much it is so that you can get the money together and go for it. But I
yeah.
don't know. I didn't have the money for it, so the guy he just kept insisting like, yo, we could get financial aid, we could do all this kind of stuff for you. And I was like, I mean, that's cool. I wasn't really too keen on going anyway. Plus, like, I don't know, I had a lot more stuff going on at that time that was more like promised, and
Mm,
yeah, it just kind of fell through, and I was just like, whatever about it. And he left that voicemail because I didn't recognize the number, and then I was like, it'd be kind of cool if I put that on a song about not going to college, but also being like, damn, I'm not going to college. You get me?
yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Like,
I totally get
because
that.
it's one
Yeah.
of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things where I kind of do feel bad about it, but it's like, well, it is what it is.
It is what it is, dude. Like I had the same type of thoughts before. I mean, right now,
Yeah,
I'm set on going to Bible college when the whole, school year starts up, semester, everything. And at first, I was not like at all like set on college or anything, and it's still not even like a college. So,
yeah,
it was just something to do. But I admire that because I wasn't like a college person either. And so back to the album, I already expressed to you how lit that song High Hopes is. The hook
my
in that,
man.
like, it just gets me. And tell me about how that song came about. And I think it's super, super topical that, we're both in the class of 2020. That's something we have in common. And this year we couldn't have a prom. Like, I don't know if you had a prom.
Nothing, bro.
Yeah,
I
we
was so
have
pissed.
nothing. We had nothing. And just what are your thoughts of having these high hopes for something we've been hyped up to have our whole life, graduation, prom, and we can't even have it now? You know what I mean?
I mean, for the whole time, I even say in the song, as far as like having high hopes, I think it's something healthy to have. And even when things fall through, it's like kind of whatever, because new doors open up. I mean, you never know what's gonna happen in the next couple years. But the world, I mean, the world's changing right now. The whole process of us doing things like this, it's not a normal interview. We're on
Yeah,
this
for sure.
on the call. You get me? So like a whole bunch of things I feel like are gonna end up changing. And I guess the high hopes of that is just like, I mean, if there's nothing I can do about it, might as well just go along and try to adapt with what's going to change. And that was kind of the whole message behind the song. I mean, if you have high hopes and you set yourself higher, even if you don't get there and you're working towards it, you can get somewhere that's good enough, comfortable enough. And that's not
Mm.
to say that you should settle for something that's good enough, but it's just, I think it's healthy to have like those high hopes so that you could just shoot for something greater. And that was the whole thing behind it.
Yeah, that's dope. And that's not a mindset that, people our age have. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Like
no, I know.
I could like you and like Anderson, right? Like you're probably the only people in your, school, like,
Real
you know what
quick,
I mean?
he changed his name. It's
Oh,
it's Andy Cypress.
Andy Cypress. I am sorry,
Yes,
but
you good.
Andy
You good. You
Cypress.
good.
But
Yes, sir.
hey, I knew him when he was Anderson. I knew you when you were young, rugged.
Yeah,
So,
this guy.
oh man. But hey, man. Another crazy thing I related to on High Hopes is like my dad, like really, um, he has this whole just mindset as like unexpected things are gonna happen all the time, and you're just gonna have to go with it. And my dad's been super encouraging to me, and I know that's something that you have in common too. Like your dad is woven in the mix with your music, and he's
Yeah.
really supportive of you. Now,
Mhm.
talk about how he, kind of helped you get up in the music, and how he grew up. Maybe around that scene. I'm not sure of how,
Well,
but
I think
I know he's
as
involved.
far as like helping with the music, it is very behind the scenes. I wouldn't say as far as sonically he helps,
Mm,
but with everything else, like making connections or getting me places to perform and stuff like that, it's definitely a help because he works as a manager too. He's not just a dad. He's not one of those dads that's like, oh yeah, good job, son. He's one of those
mm,
people that's like, hey, I see something, I'm gonna try my best for you and do what we can do. So that's kind of his role with it. As far as sonically and the music goes, he kind of has like a say in it. I don't really give him that much space when it comes to telling me like what to do as far as music. I
mm.
mean, my last album, Gifted, was all me. Really, he
Yeah.
didn't influence any of that. The only thing that he threw in on that album was the idea of putting Steve Lobel, that sample on Where the Sidewalk Ends. If you don't know,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah. I
the
listen.
sample
I
was.
listen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll throw in like things that I should do or incorporate, and I'll be like, all right, yeah, that's cool. But for the most part, the music part and the writing part and creating is kind of all me. He's behind the scenes. He says, I'm gonna give my all for you and do what I can as far as getting you where you need to be, and I'm gonna support you. and I love him to death for that. But that's his lane, and I got my lane, and that's how we roll together as a team.
Dang, that's dope, man. I mean, because like my dad didn't grow up in the hip hop scene and everything. Like for me, this was left field. Like I didn't even grow up listening to music like that. I didn't even grow up, you know, like since my parents were Christian, like all I heard was like worship music all the time.
Mhm.
And I just want
Oh
to
yeah,
know, like, huh?
yeah. Nah, for me it's complete opposite, bro. I
Yeah,
grew up and all that.
yeah.
I get,
So who were your like influences growing up? Like not
man.
even when you were thinking of rapping, but like when you were just listening to music.
Well, I mean, my dad made music back
Mm,
then, and he was a damn good rapper. He just didn't really get to that part. And well, I think really because internet wasn't that big yet.
yeah,
So
for sure.
if it was, he'd probably be bigger. But as far as like the music he would listen to, I feel like that kind of influenced it because I was never really into rap that much too.
Mm,
I think really when I started getting into it was like maybe sixth or seventh grade, like kinda,
mm,
like barely,
yeah,
not that much, but just enough to be
same.
like, okay,
Yeah,
I like this, right? But my whole life I was surrounded by it because I mean that's all I would hear at home on car rides. Like Redman was a big one. I don't know if you know who Redman is.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, from the East Coast, and my dad would play him a lot. A lot of Snoop Dogg, a lot of DMX, a lot of Tupac, because you know this was like the 2000s, and I wouldn't say that they really influenced me, but I will say that
Mm,
they had a what's that called? Like they fueled the flame. They started it. They sparked the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
I like hip hop kind of thing because it was cool to me. I wasn't too keen on like I didn't really know what they were saying, so I was like, all
yeah.
right, I like how this sounds,
It's the vibe.
but I think it's embedded though. It's one of those things where it's like if I heard it back then how it was in its form, then the longevity of that is what lasts with me and what I'm making now.
Mm. Oh, I think the reception's bad, but it's cool.
So
So,
that's kind of it for that part.
all right. So now we're gonna get into the little bit of a lightning round. You know, first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh,
But let's
for
get
sure.
into it. All right. Who do you miss the
No doubt.
most during the quarantine? Oh, wait, sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Who do you miss the most during quarantine?
That's kind of a hard one because I don't really hang out with a lot of people, but I will say my brother. My
All
brother
right.
because I mean I hardly ever see him. So
Okay. What activity did you not expect yourself to be doing? Like, if this weren't a situation that you do right now?
reading. I've been oh my god,
Reading.
dude. Reading is all I've been doing this whole quarantine because my internet went out like 2 weeks ago. All I've been doing.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. I can't even
Yeah.
read. What is your go to quarantine meal?
Uh, we just had a whole bunch of microwavable burritos. So whenever I'm too lazy to make something, man, I just pop up in the freezer and be like, "Hey yo, gotta put these in the microwave. 2 minutes,
Sheesh.
easy."
They slap. What is one what is one lesson you learned through this quarantine that you'll never forget when you get out?
Patience, and you know, being very humble because obviously, like this whole life thing can be taken from real quick, and everything could be put on pause. So that's something that I've been taught throughout this whole thing. I
Mm,
feel like
yeah. And last question, what place do you miss going the most?
school,
School?
school,
Out of all
man.
places?
I can't even lie. I can't even lie. I kind of I miss going to school. School and doing shows at after church. I was supposed to go all month last month, but the whole thing happened, and I was like,
Dang.
damn, whatever. But yeah, school after church. I'm only say school because you know that's where the homies is at, and I don't know. Over here, it's like it's not really much. I still get to go to work and all that. So
Dang. How's what like so this is like off the interview or whatever, but like what is after church? Like I've heard about it and stuff and I like messaged the guy and I like to perform and then this whole quarantine happened like right after I did that. And he was
yeah.
like he said come through.
Well, after church, it's curated by my guy Mars. That's his name, and DJ SoCal and Jasmine Sweets. and like they put this show together every Sunday. It brings a community together. It's not really one of those big old like rap shows where everybody's just like, yo, I'm best rapper here. It's more just like one of those things where you start connecting with people, not even on like a music level, but just like a people level. Like it's one of those things that bring people together, and you'd be like, damn, this is real tight. And with music, I think that's what connects us. It's not one of those things where it's like we want our music to blow up. It's just like, hey, we're here to perform music and have fun. And we got when this whole quarantine is over, they're gonna end up doing that again. I'm gonna end up going back. They got soul food there. They got let's see, it's kind of like, it's technically I'm kind of too young for it, because on one side of it, they're doing like their own adult kind of stuff over there. And then I perform and I sit all the way over here and just eat food or whatever. But for the most part, it's kind of like a mixer of just people, and like you connect with each other. And it's pretty cool. I met a whole bunch of artists and producers through that whole thing, guitarists, drum people. I don't know the name for that.
Drummers.
And, drummers.
Yeah. Ooh, Ruggo got caught slipping real quick.
Yeah, drummers. It's been a long 2 months, bro. It's
long,
been a long
2 months.
But yeah, that's what after church is. After church, man, I love going to after church. It's one of my favorite places. It is my favorite place to perform.
Dang, I gotta hit that place up too. Not even to perform. I just want to see you perform, dude.
Yeah, and it's all live band. Like you can play your instrumental in the background, and everybody, like, on the spot, bro, these musicians just start, okay, I know what it is, I know that chord, I know that, like, all that, and then just start playing your song, like, out of nowhere. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I got a homie like that, like, with the drums, drums you could just follow a beat, but, like, he, like, goes off, but yeah, that's crazy. But let's wrap up this interview. This is Famos Amos and Ruggo from the 818. And this has been Creatives in Quarantine. Go follow Ruggo at. What do we follow you?
818. That's RUGGED 818. Thank you guys.
Rugged 818. Twitter, Instagram, everything.
Yes, sir.
All right, for sure. So we'll see you guys later.
Ruggo's World.
Ruggo's World.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're good. There was a little technical difficulties right there, but we're good. Creatives in Quarantine, episode 1. That's a wrap. Thank you, Ruggo, for hanging with me.